The San Francisco 49ers and major media narratives, including ones that I have pushed forward on this channel, have been sleeping on one particular individual. And I'll admit, I have talked about them on this channel, but not since we signed him. There is a player very well picked to make this team, by the way. And he's a UDFA. He's an undrafted free agent that will very likely make this roster, or at least that is the confidence the team has in him. In this video, we are talking about this UDFA that is expected to make the squad and why everyone is weirdly silent about him. We are talking about another guy, a fringe player right now, shining in training camp recently, and the best thing I saw today, including some other things that I also saw today because I just got too excited I had to talk about him. If you're new here, I'm Nate. We're talking the San Francisco 49ers on this channel every single day, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all of the action. The good news is this. Bleacher Report picked the most likely UDFAs to make the team in all of the league. And San Francisco 49ers UDFA Evan Anderson, defensive tackle out of Florida Atlantic, was picked by Bleacher Report to be the most likely UDFA to make the 53-man roster for San Francisco. I'm excited to break this one down. This is an interesting one and a guy that I admit we have not talked about since we signed him. It's been that long, several months, right after the draft, right? I'm excited to break this down in a second, but first, what do you think about Evan Anderson? Have you forgotten about Evan Anderson? Do you remember Evan Anderson? And I'm going to also throw out this other thing. You know, some of you out there, I'd love, if you are like a college, like you just love college football and you watch college football all day Saturday, every single week, then I would love to know what you think about Evan Anderson. Because I'll be honest with you, I like college football a lot, but I just don't have the time right now in my current season of life to watch as much football as it takes to be an expert in college football. Like, to those of you that are out there doing that, congratulations. Hats off to you. That's a lot of work. But let me know what you think. And Joey Fungi, I hope I'm saying your name right. Let me know if I'm not. Let me know in the comments. I will fix it if I'm not saying it right. I will not miss your comment. I promise. Joey Fungi, it's okay to watch the whole video before commenting. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm totally cool with that. Honestly, the reason I put the comment out, the comment reminder now, early in the video, is so that I remember throughout the video to try and answer and share my perspective on that question. So all of that being said, feel free to watch the whole video before commenting what you think about Evan Anderson, excuse me, wrong name, Evan Anderson, before, it's up to you, all right? You do your thing. Obviously, I want to get this out there before, you start coming at me crazy in the comments. I understand that Evan Anderson was undrafted. That's in the name, UDFA. He was undrafted, all right? So before, I'm not talking about Evan Anderson. I don't think he's going to become, a first-team all-star nose tackle, all-pro. I'm not saying that, all right? But I do believe he's going to make this roster for a couple of reasons. We're going to talk about Bleacher Report's reasoning in just a second. But I do think he has a very important job that the 49ers have in mind for him based on a very serious weakness we saw last season that we're hoping is going to change this season. Let's get into what that is. So firstly, Bleacher Report picked, a player for every single team. Defensive tackle Evan Anderson, great pick for the 49ers. You could say there are some other undrafted guys out there, like QB4 right now. I know there are some major media personalities who absolutely love that pick, but they've chose defensive tackle Evan Anderson. Money talks in the UDFA process. Teams often drop hints about how much they like a player based on the guaranteed money they hand out. Some UDFAs only get $1,000 guaranteed when they sign their contracts. The San Francisco 49ers gave defensive tackle Evan Anderson a guaranteed $280,000. No problem. $300,000. That's crazy. Teams generally don't give out that much to a player unless they have a plan in mind for them, which you have to say bare minimum for $280,000, he better be on the practice squad. If he doesn't make the practice squad and you just ate that that would just be embarrassing. But anyway, in case of Anderson, it isn't hard to figure out that plan. Anderson is a run-stuffing specialist who has his weight down to 315 pounds after weighing over 350 as a sophomore at Florida Atlantic. I believe he entered the draft at 325, 330, something like that. So He's even down further from that, it looks like. Anderson isn't going to get after the quarterback, but the Niners don't have many true nose tackles on their roster. Anderson could easily win a roster spot playing that role. And if you don't remember Evan Anderson, the thing with Evan Anderson is this. He can handle double teams. He can do a lot. He's got some skills. He doesn't have maybe the arm length that you would want, and he doesn't have the penetration you would want for someone who's pressuring up the middle. But that's not why the 49ers gave him $280,000 guaranteed. The reason they gave him that, I think, is because they want a guy in run-stopping situations that they can put in at the nose for that specific situation. I believe they want him as a second team guy that's rotating in and out. He's not going to be the number one, but he's going to come in at times when they want to put specific pressure to stop the run in certain situations, certain looks, that sort of situation. That's how I see it playing out. Could I be wrong? Of course I could. Absolutely. Let me know in the comments. I'm totally fine with being wrong. I'm wrong all the time about all sorts of stuff. But I think I'm right about this one, and I usually think I'm right about most of the things I say because I wouldn't say them if I didn't think I was right. If you remember anything else about him, the guy, so, he's not going to get after the quarterback. You're not counting on that from him. He had some issues with the draft prospect was kind of like some of his footwork was a little bit off. You can coach that out. You know what? I actually have it up over here. Hold on. I can pull this up. Weakness, arm length, can't change that. Occasional lunging off the snap, you can coach that. Inconsistent footwork, you can coach that. Lacks the get off to beat protection and factor as a rusher. If you don't care about him as a rusher, then that doesn't matter. So, I'm okay with that. I can live with that. On the strengths, stout and thick through his lower body with quality upper body power. Plays with lowered pads and digs in against double teams. Uses short area footwork and sudden hands to create penetration opportunities. Doesn't really matter, apparently, but whatever. Ability to gain separation and bypass the base block. Adequate reactive agility and powerful thump as an interior tackler. Okay? So, there you go. I mean, I think of this guy as just an athlete. That's how I think of him. He's an athlete. And look, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm super surprised as this article came out. I'm like, I've thought about Evan Anderson maybe 5 times, 6 times when this offseason, after signing him, of course. And really only when I'm talking about the defensive line and I'm thinking about all of the players that are potentially in there. That's the only time I'm really thinking about him. And I'm like, man, I got to stop sleeping on this guy. I'm sleeping on him too. And this guy could be valuable. They obviously think enough of him to pay him $280,000. Let's move on, though. Some other things. Love to see, by the way, that fringe player I was talking about, by the way, Ronnie Bell. And a couple of you have been commenting, saying, what's up with Bell? Why are you leaving him out of the list? He has been producing of late. So I want to make sure we give some credit out there. He is also making a name. Early on, Danny Gray was doing some special stuff. Trent Taylor's done some special stuff, which was a surprise to me. And now Ronnie Bell has had a couple of good days on the training camp. So that's good to hear. Obviously, they're not training today, but all that stuff coming out from camp, I want to make sure I give some credit there. One of the best things I saw all day today. One of the best. Rumors circulated that the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk are close to a new deal, even coming from, not our favorite person on planet Earth, but Colin Cowherd himself saying he's expecting a new deal for Brandon Aiyuk. So that's exciting. And that's exciting for 2 reasons. One, I still think Brandon Aiyuk is an amazing football player, and I would love to have him on this team. There's no doubt about that. I think our team's better with Brandon Aiyuk on the field. In addition to that, it would also be nice if we could just move on. All the drama, all the offseason messiness is just gone. We're officially in August, guys. We're here. And we said don't freak out till, I think, August 13th or August 15th or something was one of those dates that you're like, don't freak out till August 15th. Your first preseason game's now 9 days away. You're starting to feel it. Like, hey, it'd be great to get him out there. And there's rhythm to that wide receiver position. So you want to get him out there. Another great thing I saw today. Absolutely love it. 49ers announced today that Frank Gore will be the newest inductee into the San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame during the Week 1 matchup against the New York Jets on Monday, September 9th. Absolutely love it. Amazing football player. When you put him up there on the all-timers list, in terms of yards, and he's third in all-time rushing yards at 16,000 rushing yards. That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. I mean, he was special. He was special. He had 9,000-yard rushing seasons. One of those being upwards in like the 1,700-yard range. So phenomenal player, well-deserved. Absolutely love it. Hats off to you. You deserve it, every single bit of it. Congratulations, Frank Gore. Love to see that as well. I was hoping that by the time I recorded this video, a Brandon Aiyuk deal was done. And maybe by the time you're watching this, a Brandon Aiyuk deal is done. We'll see. But we have a lot to be excited about, so much to look forward to. We're just a handful of days away. We actually have football on the TV today. I'm going to relish watching the best versions of the highlights of tonight's game. It will be really interesting, especially to watch just the kickoffs and how they approached him and pick up on any little nuggets we can from the new kickoff rule and how we're going to be setting up against that. I know the first one they did. I don't know. Is it mandatory? Shoot, now I'm second guessing myself on the rules. Is it mandatory to have two guys in there, or is that just the way that teams are thinking they're going to do it? Because there's a loss if the ball lands inside the landing zone and goes out of bounds or out the end zone, but it lands inside, then it's bad on you and you start at the 20. So I think most teams are going to set up to have two potential receivers there at all times so that they can make sure that they get the ball no matter where it's kicked. So this is going to be so fascinating. I'm excited to watch. This is going to be a lot of fun. As always, Faithful, what a time to be alive.